Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast. We are a show that gives you a look at sports, one baseball in particular, but every sport from a slightly different perspective. And of course, here with me is the co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Popeye 4. Of course, that's his name last week too. And as you know, what he does, he puts a nickname up, and I got to try to figure out who it is. And I've already told him I have no idea who that is. None. No idea whatsoever.
I'll give you one clue.
If it's the same clue that was last week, I won't get it.
No. This one is not is not known for his playing days. He's known as he was more notable as a coach.
You mean like Dusty Baker?
No, not as good as a player though. Like he was one of those journeymen, like like Tommy Lasorda was a not so good pitcher in the big leagues, but he wound up being a great manager.
Is it Tommy Lasorda?
No.
Is it Jim Fregosi?
No. He wasn't a bad player though.
Well, I'm not going to figure it out, but with us today, we have a very special guest. Of course, last week we had the Hall of Famer, Alfia Lewis, with us. This week we have somebody that's very special, near and dear to the both of us. I call her Fancy. A lot of people call her Francisca, whatever the case may be. But I'm talking about this young lady right here, the smile that lights up the room. That is Miss Fran Mukova.
You got it right on the first shot.
You got it.
Yes, absolutely. I've been working on that for the past 5 years. I've been making sure I've always been able to pronounce that. But welcome to the Check Swing Podcast.
Whoa.
Thank you
for having me.
Now, Fancy, as I call her, Fancy was a student athlete at Penwood High School. She was also, for a good 2 or 3 years, a manager for Miguel and I with the varsity baseball team. Awesome job as a manager. Probably the best manager we've had. Probably the best manager that we'll have going forward. Probably. And that's just like, I'm not even just trying to pump you up. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, you knew nothing about the game coming into the situation, learned a lot about the game, and even learned how to score the game on an app in which Miguel had to teach me how to use last summer.
He's still, but no, you got it down last summer because
I had to, but I knew I understood the game.
Right.
She had to learn the app and the game associated with the app. So great job. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
We should get a clipboard and retire it.
Honestly, I actually had to learn basketball, how to score basketball games, because I was a manager for the basketball team in my 11th grade year. So I did both teams. I did basketball in the winter and I did baseball in the spring. So yeah.
And on top of that, you also played volleyball
in
the fall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a season where you even ran track.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a medal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about some of that with the track coach. See if he can remember you winning a medal, but that's neither here nor there.
Unlikely.
Fancy is going into her, I can't believe it,
senior year.
I can't believe it. She's going into her senior year at Cabrini.
Yeah.
So first of all, congratulations on that. And what are you studying at Cabrini?
I'm a pre-medicine major with a minor in communications.
So that's like two different ends of the spectrum. How did that come about? Like, how pre-med and communication, how did you make that decision?
Honestly, it is very weird because even in my communications classes, so like I had a radio course this last semester, and they were asking, our lecturer or instructor was asking, what's your major? And when I said pre-med, he looked at me like, but yeah, so I went into school, right? Honestly, I did not know what I wanted to do, but I was an all-around student. So I'm humbly bragging because it's a fact. I was a smart, I am a smart child or young woman now. So
So humbly said.
So humble.
so yeah, so I was like, okay, since I can't pick, because I feel like normally people would pick like something that's not difficult for them, right? They would pick the easiest thing or something that they're interested in to major in. And so I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good in everything. Which one do I pick? And then it came down to, okay, you're okay in everything, but what would you not mind doing? And I was like, okay, fine, let's just do the science stuff. Because math, I'm like, I can do it, but history, never, never, never. I would take 20 English courses before I touch a history course.
Mm.
And then English, I'm like, I don't feel like doing all those paper stuff. So I'm like, okay, fine, science. And then I went into science, and I did not know that in science you still do papers, but it's still not as bad as English courses. And then now I got to I think I was in my sophomore year. And then I'm like, you know what? I think I want to like maybe do like sports medicine, right? So I was thinking, I was like, I don't know where it came from, but I'm like, I kind of like sports. I like being around sports players, right? There's a kind of environment, you know what I mean? When with a team, you guys should know what I mean, because you guys are athletes. So, well,
Former.
back in the day.
Easy.
So
Watch it.
Hey, careful now. Careful. I'll mute your mic quick.
My back started hurting. Hold on.
So yeah. So I was like, I wanted to go into sports medicine, and I could see myself as like a team doctor. And so I started like finding out, I knew that I knew that I was going to go like this science thing, I was going to do the science thing, but people had minors and I didn't. I was thinking, okay, what can I do? I don't want to do like a regular psychology minor. I don't want to do a regular English minor. That stuff is right? Like, what can I do to make me different? I need to be different. Different is me. Me is different. Okay. So I'm like, you know what? And then I don't even know, honestly, now that I think about it, I don't even know how I found communications, because it was like.
Hold up. Did we not just talk about this?
Well, no, but even though, because I had a conversation with Popeye for.
you can reveal my name because Justin always tries to go by my nickname, but he always, oh yeah, Miguel. I mean, whatever your name is. So,
but I can't call you that.
Yes,
That's
you can.
Weird.
It's
always Mr. Santa. Like, I
that's
can't.
fine.
Okay,
fine.
yeah, Mr. Santa. So yeah, so I had the conversation with you in my senior year, right? But
yeah.
if I'm like, honestly, you have many conversations with people in passing years, you rarely remember them. So I had that conversation with you, but I really didn't consider it. And so I was like, okay, so I'm doing this thing, and I'm like, I need something special. I'm like, okay, you know what? People are always like, you talk really nice. You got a nice voice, whatnot. I'm like, hey, maybe I should try this radio thing. So then I started like researching what major could help me get to the radio. And then I found communications. And so now I'm minoring in digital communications, and I'm a pre-med major, planning to go to medical school probably a year after I graduate.
Are you trying to just, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, were you done with the sports medicine track? Or?
Sorry. I forgot I didn't explain that one. Okay, so when I came into college, I had a bunch of credits because I also did dual enrollment. I did dual enrollment and I did AP classes. So I came in with college credits. So when I started my freshman year, I didn't start with like the basic classes. I was a little bit ahead, right? So instead of doing like 101 classes, I was like in 111, so that meant that I had most of my credits done. When I started thinking of sports medicine, it was in my spring semester of my sophomore year. So at this point, I had gotten a bunch of credits for pre-med. So to switch was looking like I might have to start again, right? And because even though sports medicine and pre-med sounds like it's the same, they had very few classes in common. And so it's kind of like all the courses I would have taken at this point, I was like, no, I
Because
can't
I
do
guess
another year of college.
because other than kinesiology, I guess it's not much much the same, right?
What?
Kinesiology.
That is.
Never mind. You didn't take the course. Never mind. Study of the body. It's
I
a
mean,
yeah.
the
it's a medical,
face she made looks like that's a course she was avoiding.
or she never heard of it in her natural life, which is why
I've
why she
never
pre
heard
med.
of it ever.
I find it hard to believe that you were a pre-med major. You thought about sports medicine and you've never heard of kinesiology. I've heard of it, but I don't even really know exactly what it is because I never took it because I was a communications major. I mean, kinesiology wasn't ology, nothing with ology in it, really.
I was a
There's no.
I was a C average in all of my ology courses.
Wow. Wow.
Well, let me ask you this because you were a volleyball player.
Mm.
You ran track.
Mm.
You did statistics. You were a manager for the basketball team. You're a manager
Mm.
for a baseball team.
Mm.
Um, and now that you are going into your senior year at Cabrini, congratulations! I'm still taken back by that. Um, what role do you feel like high school athletics play? Because you were an athlete as well as a manager, and not a lot of people have both of those. You know what I mean? I was never a manager because I played baseball, ran track, I wrestled, and all like that. I just was never a manager. You were on both sides of that. What role could you explain, if any, did that what role did that play in some of the decisions you made, maybe in school or some of your decisions down the line that you made in these past 3 years of college?
Okay, so I personally think that I think I have a decent personality. I'm a pretty decent person. And so um people will not get to know who you are or your character or personality if they never meet you, right? And so I first of all, I came into Penwood. I joined Penwood in the middle school in eighth the last two quarters of eighth grade in the middle school.
Coming
And
from
so
where?
coming from Zimbabwe.
See, I wanted that to be known too. That you came here in eighth grade from another country. So that's a whole nother adjustment that you had to make.
So you'd be surprised actually. You know what? Actually, yeah. Yeah. America
I've never
is
had to make the
special.
adjustment to a country.
It's not well, okay, before I get into the high school, the adjustment was not necessarily it wasn't difficult because it was not like, difference in food or anything or a language. I'm fluent in English. Um, it wasn't anything difficult like that. The biggest adjustment was like America has a personality of itself. I don't know if that makes sense. Americans have a personality.
Mm-hmm.
It's very outspoken, sometimes not necessarily respectful. Um,
especially
and
especially those New York people, right?
and so
That-
and so that was like my biggest adjustment. Like I would like seeing like uh what when I was in eighth grade, I was like what 13, 14. Seeing a 14-year-old curse out a teacher. What? Seeing people fight. What? I was, oh my god, I was flabbergasted. That was the honest answer because I was like, I'd never seen that in my life.
Wow.
Like African culture is respect your elders.
Mm-hmm.
Respect your elders. That's it. It's respect your elders, whether it's a teacher, it's your parent. There are obviously sometimes you find a few strays who try to act American, but as you see, I call them acting American because it's not African. African culture is respect your elders. And so when I saw that is not, people are like, I'm gonna call my mom on you. I'm like, Girl, if they call my mom, what? My mom would not take my side, right? But here it's like,
That's
I'm
true.
gonna call my mom. I was like, wow. So that was the biggest adjustment, just adjusting to the different characters that you have in Zimbabwe, or even I lived in Ghana for a little bit. So Ghana, South Africa, these characters, there's a trend of respectfulness in African culture that is sketchy when you come to American culture.
Now, let's stay with the culture thing just for a minute, because I can remember a conversation that you and I had on the school bus heading to a game, and we were discussing the athletics in Zimbabwe compared to the athletics in America. Um, I found it very interesting what you said, and can you explain to the audience and to us some of the differences between athletics at the youth level, high school or and under, the athletics in your home country compared to athletics here in the United States?
Okay, so in Zimbabwe, everyone is an athlete. Everyone. Everyone is an athlete. Unless you have a medical condition. So you know how I think it's in order to get out of doing something in PE. Oh no. Sometimes people just don't do anything.
No,
Oh gosh.
you're right. Keep going with it. You're right. You're
But
right.
yeah, so
You talking about here?
in order to get
Mhm.
out of doing stuff in PE, sometimes you need like a medical excuse, right? I'm
Right.
thinking I don't necessarily
In most cases,
in
yes.
most
In most
cases,
cases.
yes. So um that was so you had to have a medical reason as to why you could not do sports in Africa or in Zimbabwe. Let me not say Africa because I don't know what happened in other countries. But I know in Zimbabwe you needed to have a medical excuse as to why you could not do sports. So if you did not have a medical excuse, you did sports, whether you were bad at it, good at it, whatever, average, you did it. And so from when I started in first grade, I did sports from fall, winter, spring. Every sport had a season, and you would have to choose a sport. So collectively, right? I think I'll talk probably about like my middle school years. Collectively, you would have um, a sport that everyone would do, right? So let's go with cross country. Everyone had to. So let's say it was track season in the year, right? We've gotten to track season. Everyone did track. Everyone did cross country, right? But if you wanted to, so okay, let me take it back. Let's say we've got 5 days in the week, right? Tuesday, Thursday, you're doing track. Everybody's doing track on that day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you get to pick a different sport to do. So it's track season, but there's still variety. But still,
Mm.
everybody has to do something. So I would do track and I would do basketball. So maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm playing basketball. Tuesday, Thursday, I'm doing track with the rest of the school. Somebody else would do track and they would pick soccer. So Tuesday, Thursday, we're doing track and cross country. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're playing soccer while I'm playing basketball. However, everybody had to play a sport.
Actually,
So
I
they're
like that.
pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we're pretty healthy back there.
That's uh that's interesting because I mean that's very different from here because I mean I grew up playing sports basically my entire life and I couldn't imagine not growing up playing sports, but not every person is fortunate enough to do that or even wants to do that. But in your country, it's like you're going to play a sport, and it seems like it's more so of a maybe is it more of a health thing?
I think honestly, it's like a discipline thing.
Okay,
I think it's a
okay,
discipline thing because if you really think about it, sports requires some discipline. You have to
absolutely.
take instruction from your coach, and then you
Hmm.
have to follow through on those instructions, and then you have to. It also creates community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe if me and some girl called Susan were in two different classes. We meet while we're playing hockey, and now she's my friend, and now I have somebody that I can say hi to in the hallway because I've met Susan during hockey. And so it builds connections. So my school was we were like, of course you won't be friends with everybody, but everybody pretty much knew everybody.
That's awesome, Miguel.
No, I think that I love that concept of, you know, making children. What's the youngest age that you start?
I
That they
started you obviously firstly beginning like they teach you the sport. So first grade, I remember I used to have like swim. I used to do swimming. I remember vividly like every Monday, I think it was Monday, we would go swimming. That would be our PE for the day. So it would start like that, and then maybe um that will be for one season, and the next season it will be everybody does hockey for PE. So when you're younger, it's just like PE classes kind of. As you get older,
how early did they make everyone, like, was it like right out
first
of the
grade,
womb? It was
first
first
grade,
grade. Okay,
first
gotcha.
grade.
He said it was right out of the womb. No, I mean,
First
that's
grade.
interesting because I can remember my first year of playing baseball. I mean, it was t-ball, but my first year playing baseball was in kindergarten because I remember the papers coming to the school. I took it home. I was like, "Oh, look at this!" Next thing I know, I'm playing baseball. I'm playing t-ball, and then here I am doing it for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Um, so to go back to the question at hand, and I know we kind of trailed away from it a bit. Um, Management and playing. Um, does it compare? No, you know what? Let's change it up a little bit. What was your favorite sport to manage? You better answer this right.
I'm so sorry, but it was basketball.
Are
It
you
was
serious? You
basketball.
had an iPad with baseball.
I'm so
You were
I
able to search
just
the internet while
I,
scoring games.
I'm like sometimes when it gets to sports, I'm very aggressive, right? I get very aggressive. And so you can't really get aggressive in baseball.
no,
What?
well, hold on. Yes, you can, but Popeye 4 and I tended not to have real moments where we could really be aggressive with things without going into much detail.
Yeah.
We just couldn't really, our aggressiveness couldn't come through. Okay. I'm not sure. It looks like we may have lost her.
Oh.
Um, she's frozen right now. Fran, if you can hear us, let us know, or jump in and jump back out, or jump out and jump back in if you can. But we're talking to Fancy Mukova. I call her Fancy Francisca Mukova. Going into There she is, going
There
into
she
her
is.
senior year at Cabrini. So I don't know if you heard anything that we just said.
I heard the what?
Oh, that's the last thing you heard? Okay, great.
I heard the
So
what?
so yes, you can get aggressive in baseball. But what I said was Popeye 4 and I, also known as Miguel. We didn't have much opportunities to be aggressive or show the aggressiveness that you might be looking for in some of the other sports. But let me ask you this: what was your favorite, managing or playing? What was your favorite?
Managing.
Managing, really?
I want to say managing. I love volleyball. I loved playing. I loved the teamwork. But with managing, um, I I don't want to say I like control because that sounds weird, but I like responsibility in a sense. I like responsibility, and as a manager, you have a certain sense. You have that's not sense. You have responsibility, whether it's to pay attention in scoring, whether it's to make sure that Angie is somewhere close by to get water, make sure that people got equipment, whatever. So I liked the responsibility. Have you ever seen like somebody who likes just going up and down and being in everybody's business and doing stuff?
That
That
was
is
you.
me.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And
That's me.
you were the only one that could find the trainer Angie consistently.
And he was
When I needed to find her, when Coach Justin needed to find her, she was she was in a different borough. She was in a different city. But Fran, he's like, she'd be like, hold up. And here she comes walking with the trainer in her back shoulder. I don't know how you did that.
I think it's because Angie liked me. She doesn't like many people, but she liked me.
Whatever.
She likes us. But I get
Sure.
it. I get it. We're talking with Francisca Mukova, senior, going into her senior year at Cabrini. Is it Cabrini College, Community University?
Formerly college,
Okay.
currently university. So you're still correct, even with it, whichever way you go with it.
Was there any point in the past 3 years? I know you're dealing with COVID just like we are, and I know things change. But was there any point in your college tenure that you said maybe I'll go and try to be a manager for one of these teams, or did COVID even prevent that for you?
I considered being the manager for the basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it so much in high school that I wanted to do it again. And then I just didn't know how to go about it. And then I don't know what happened. It was kind of like, it's like if you have a desire and then if you don't act on it while you're passionate about it, once that desire goes, it's kind of like, eh. So that's what kind of happened.
We might need some baseball managers because me and Justin are coaching at a certain facility. So
This is true. This is true.
I'm just saying.
And in this situation, Miguel is the head coach and I'm the assistant, and he gives me the app to keep the score of the games. And I hate it because I'm looking down at stuff this is me trying to do the app. So I'm looking down at stuff, trying to catch up with the score and all that good stuff. And then somebody gets thrown out and I'm like, oh, I should have been paying attention to that.
Dude, but you were great at it last year. You were on top of it.
Well, what can I say?
Not the mustache.
Fran, we want to thank you for being on with us, and I know that you have your own podcast aspirations and your own podcast out there, and I didn't know if you really. I had to bring it up. I didn't know if you wanted to put it out there or not. I know you were a little, a little shaky on that, but we do know that if it does come back, it'll be back in the fall, correct?
Yes, it will.
And what is it called? Because I love the name and I want to steal the name, but I won't because out of respect for you.
All right. So you guys can catch me on the Shake Up Wake Up show on Cabrini Radio, 89.1 WIBF FM. Actually, it's
called
she was
singing
Radio.
It. Oh, no. It sounded like you were singing it for a second. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, and so it will be back in the fall. Most likely it would still be on at the same time, but we'll come back to that. Anyway, if you follow me on Instagram at Fantasticate, you will be caught up on all the good news and all the updates on my podcast, which is coming soon, and my radio show, Fantasticate. FRANTASTICATE.
Fantastic. Just how it sounds.
I'm not going to try to spell it. I'm going to when this is done publishing on our YouTube channel, I'm just going to go back and watch it and get it that way.
There it is. She just put it down there.
Hey,
that's her where you can follow her on the gram.
Fantastic. Yes,
you definitely do that. Miguel, did you have any more questions that you wanted to grill Miss Fancy on?
I think I had one. How did you handle? I mean, with all the, I guess going back to your volleyball days and even managing, how did you handle like a challenging teammate, like somebody that just had like poor body language or would just kind of fly off the handle over like any little thing? Or did you even experience that? Because I know dealing with the baseball guys, I know you saw quite a bit on the side that you really didn't have to deal with. But when, as an athlete, as a teammate, Can you think of a time where you had those challenging moments where you may have had to like shake the other person, like get your stuff together, and.
I think okay. So if we talk about volleyball, in volleyball, sometimes we get what we get three. It's the best 3 out of 5 for varsity. Best three games out of 5. So sometimes if you lose the first two, people get discouraged when you get to the third one. I was normally the one who was like, come on, guys, we're still in this. Let's keep going. Right. That's just who I am. I don't necessarily give up. I don't know how to. It's not in my blood. Um, um, and
That's why you fit in so well with us.
I'm always it's just innate to be encouraging. I can't be the person who brings people down. I can't do it. I don't like being down myself. So if I don't like being down, when I see somebody else being down, I try my best to lift their spirits whichever way I could. And so that's from being on the team. I'll just try and lift everybody's spirits, but I'll try and make people laugh while we're in a huddle, try and make people smile, the best way I could. And then as a manager, you would see oftentimes that players sometimes get upset, obviously, because it's a sport and you want to win. So players get upset. And so again, I would just use my personality. I would try and make somebody smile in some way. I'd say something funny. I'll talk about something. Sometimes you also want to give them space. But yeah, I don't think there was ever, I've been blessed enough that I've never come across somebody who's been actively negative towards me in any way. When I come with positivity, even if sometimes it's not returned, I never get something bad back. So it's either I don't get like the response I'm looking for, or I get a positive response, but I never get like a leave me alone. Why are you talking to me? Like stuff like that. No, never.
It's funny that you say that. And I always got a story for something, right? So when I was actually a coach at um, Maryland Eastern Shore, we were playing against Coppin State. It was a doubleheader. And in the first game we were up by a lot. I don't remember what the score was. We might have been up by like 12, right? 12-0. Long story short, we ended up losing the game. And the team came. It was like a walk-off situation. We were the away team. So it was like a walk-off situation, right? And the guys came off the field and they were obviously they were pissed, they were disappointed and all like that. And me being the person I am, just like you, I don't give up. Like I'm all right, that one's over. Let's go. We got a whole nother one that we gotta go take care. And when I tell you that they were not trying to hear what I had to say after losing that, and we got our doors blown off in the second game because of that, it like I just can't. For me, I've never been this person. I've never been one that basically cries over spilled milk. Like once the negative
It's
thing
still
happens, if you make an error on the baseball field, if you miss a foul shot, but it's done. You can't do anything about it now. All you can do is
yes,
affect what's coming in the future. That's all you can really
exactly,
do. And
exactly.
I try to get that across to the guys I coach. I try to get that across to people I mentor and all, whatever the case may be. Even to the young kids, we tried to get that across to them. We just finished up a season, so you know I feel exactly where you're coming from on that one, Fancy. And that's a tough position to be in because it's like, hey, let's go, and it's like, whatever, shut up. You
It's
know what I
hard.
mean?
It's very hard sometimes because sometimes you're also trying to encourage your own self because you have feelings as well. So you're feeling some type of way as well. But you know that if you can't get them out of their heads, it's over. Like, why are
Right,
we even continuing?
right.
And sometimes it's hard because you're like, it feels like you're carrying everybody else. It's like, my guy, pick up your weight. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like good thing is like we play baseball, so there's always another game right behind. You're always playing. But I think about like football when it's like once a week. Like me personally, if I'm watching the Eagles game and they lose, I'm kind of in a bad mood till like Wednesday. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's not
yeah.
all of, but I can't watch ESPN. I can't watch any sports because I don't want to see the highlights. I'm in a bad mood to like for like 3 days, and then I'm good, and because I'm getting ready for the next game. But um, that all being said, I just want to thank you, Fancy, for being with us, Francisca Mukova, senior, going into her senior year. I keep saying it because I just can't believe it. Like I'm waiting for you to be like, nah, I'm really just a junior. But going into her senior year at Cabrini University, very proud of you, and of course Miguel and I wish you the best. Now, right now, Popeye 4. I got to figure this out. I know Popeye is the nickname and 4 is the jersey number. I've been able to figure that out about your names over the past few weeks. Can you give me another hint?
He was the head coach, or he was the manager, I should say, for the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago Cubs in the 70s and the 80s. And he was a man, and he was a coach he was a coach on the Yankees staff for a while.
Zimmer?
Is it Don Zimmer?
That's why I was Zimmer.
Holy crap, you got it right.
She Googled it.
Is that what she did?
She Googled it.
I definitely did.
What did you type in the search?
I typed baseball player nicknamed Popeye.
Are you serious?
I promise you. And then it came up.
Well, I mean, that's how whatever.
But I let the record show I said it before she did.
Yes, you did.
I wanted it to be natural. I wanted it to be natural. You know, I had to look like, I'm trying to really think about it. You know what I mean? Because there was no one I was going to guess.
Zimmer. First of all, nobody believed that you didn't look that up because of all the questions you just answered about how basketball was your thing and all like that.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about him was how he would argue with umpires because he would like he was a very animated coach to say the least. And he would take team. He was like one of those coaches that would take a team to a certain point, but couldn't really get them over the hump. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like in Boston, he took him. I think he was the manager in like '78 for the Boston Red Sox, and
wow.
I think they lost a 14-game lead over the Yankees. And then here in Chicago, this was like '89. He took the team to the playoffs for a couple of years, but then couldn't really get over that hump. But he was on the Yankees teams in the '90s that were pretty competitive. And I think he was on the staff that beat us in the World Series in '09. But I just always remember how animated.
I think he was.
But I just always remember how animated he was. Really tough on his pitching staff. Like he would, kind of like Dusty Baker. Like Dusty would always let his pitchers. He didn't really care about a pitch count, so he would let his pitchers go the distance. You know what I mean?
So my lasting memory of Don Zimmer will always be
the fight.
The fight. When Pedro Martinez basically spared his life.
it was so gentle too.
It was, and people got on Pedro Martinez for it. Like how could you do that to an old man? Well, when the old man is charging you,
right? And he did kind of an Olay, like he kind of guided him gently to the. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Absolutely did that.
I think he saved them personally, but
he could have been. And I hope I'm getting this name right. It could have been like a Kermit Washington, Rudy Tomjanovich situation where is it Kermit Washington that hit him? Where I mean, he almost ended Rudy Tomjanovich's life. I mean, actually, I'm actually wrong because Rudy Tomjanovich was not charging at Kermit Washington, but Don Zimmer was charging at Pedro Martinez. So I mean, Pedro really could have just lined him up, hit him with that kapaya right in the middle of the face. And, it could have been over. It could have been lights out for him. But all he did, like you say, he gently guided him to the ground because his gravity and momentum was already taking him that way because he was like 88. And when you start running at 88 real fast and you don't do it all the time, you tend to lose it down.
Stop. You start running, you can't stop.
So I was stalling because it looked like Miguel was looking for a video. So I was stalling, but it doesn't look like we're going to have it. Am I right?
No.
No, it's all right. I mean, we don't have to. I mean, we could close it out.
A video of
probably the fight
of an old man trying to fight a grown man.
Wow. Trying to fight a professional athlete.
So he was a coach.
Yeah. So I found it. So yeah, he was a coach. I mean, he's still coaching. He's actually on the Tampa Bay Devil.
Is he really? I thought he was dead. Really?
It says that he.
Wow,
It says that he
that was
passed
messed
at
up
the
with that.
age of 83.
Yeah, he's
He's
dead.
not dead, is he?
Is dead. Yeah, he died.
2014. Says
Oh
Google.
damn! Moment of silence. All right, so the last team he was on was the Tampa Bay Rays.
That moment was really short.
you know what my nickname for Fran was? Shady, because she knew how to throw some shade. Like
Here it is. Here it is. Is this it?
Yeah. So like what happened before this? The Pedro, who was the pitcher, threw at him, and then they kind of retaliated. Although this was kind of cheesy for Ramirez. He was a head case too.
Yeah, he was. He was one of my favorite players once he became a head case.
Yeah, he was a damn good player.
Yeah, once he became Manny being here it is.
Yeah. So I mean,
Why?
I'm mad you're laughing at that.
Yeah, like why would you go after a Cy Young Award winning in his prime pitcher?
But you know what I like about this?
You're like 9,700 years old.
But here's the respect. Both teams were like, because he coached for both teams, so they're like, all right, come on, you know what I mean? I think he even got like a little standing ovation as they were walking him off the field in Boston, because this was in Boston. So,
and let the record show, he absolutely went after Pedro.
He did. I think Pedro was surprised. You saw he was like,
and right before Pedro slung him to the ground, he had a hand up, so he looked like he tried to reach out after his face or his neck or something. So I'm not talking about Pedro, I'm talking about Zimmer. He looked like he was trying to get him. But it's time for us to get up out of here. Fran keeps flashing, trying to tell us she's ready to go.
She's trying to finish that. She's trying to finish her meal.
Oh, that's right. We interrupted her meal tonight. That's what happens when you have a show at 9. So are you frozen, Fran? Yep, she sure is. There she is. She's back.
No, I'm just. Right, well, I was just posing.
Okay.
You said if I was frozen, I said no. I was just posing.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, look. Once again, friend, thank you for being with us on the Check Swing podcast. We will definitely have you back on. We might have to have you back on around graduation time so we can give you your flowers while you're here to receive them.
This time next year.
She's excited. She's a college senior, everybody. Well, with all that being said, I want to thank you for being with us here on the Check Swing podcast, for Fancy and for Popeye 4, a.k.a. Miguel. We'll talk to y'all next week. That's next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. So with all that being said, thank you for being with us. We are out of here. Peace.